Thank you, Marcia, for that wonderful introduction. As I look out into this audience, I can't help but think of one thing, and that's women are extraordinary. I'm sure you think I might be biased on the topic, but I can step out of myself and say with full confidence that in my most objective opinion, women are really extraordinary. Now, I did see a few good men in the audience, I did, and I applaud you for being here, but this is indeed a TEDx Women event. So men, put your seatbelts on. It's going to be all about the women today. And as I think about women being extraordinary, you don't have to take my word for it. Let's just take a poll today. By show of hands, everyone in the audience, I think there are about 200 of you here, raise your hand if you think women are extraordinary. Let's see. Raise them high, raise them high. Okay, that's good. Okay, let me see. Okay, our auditors have shared with me that it's unanimous. Oh, no, listen, you don't have to take my word. 100%, that's even higher than I anticipated. That is just awesome. And that leads me to think about what is our prescription for success? What is it? What are the ingredients to the prescription that we use to make us so extraordinary as women? And of course, I don't have enough time to talk about all the ingredients, but what I thought I'd do is focus on 3 key ingredients. And the first that I'll talk about is patience. Patience isn't something that we're born with. At least I wasn't. Maybe some of you were, but I wasn't. My parents will tell you that by the time I reached the ripe old age of 2, I thought that I was ready to lead, not only my older sisters, but my parents too. Now, my judgment was a little off, clearly, but you know what? My parents didn't stifle my leadership skills, but instead, they led by example. They didn't call me a bossy girl. They said, you know what? I think she has potential. And so what they did was instill in me the leadership qualities that they thought I would need if I were to become an extraordinary woman in leadership. And I think that's critically important. And they also made it clear to me that it's kind of hard to have credibility as a leader when you haven't fully graduated from diapers. So that's a key lesson. But as extraordinary women, I think in order for us to be successful, we have to put on what I might call oil of patience every day. Every day, sometimes 2 times, sometimes 3 times a day, because if we didn't, this world would make it very challenging for us to succeed. And as extraordinary women, in order to succeed, we know that we sometimes have to be better. We sometimes have to wait for that assignment. And the one thing I have to say about extraordinary women, sometimes we actually overdose on our oil of patience and we wait until we're more than qualified to put our hand in the ring for things. But you know what? We err on the side of over-preparation. And for better or worse, I think it's for better. Because when we finally get those roles, we are more than qualified to do the job, and we excel. Now, the second ingredient that I want to talk about in our prescription for success as extraordinary women is perspective. If we didn't have perspective, oh my, I just can't imagine how we would get up every day. I'm just going to give you some things to think about. It's been 90 years since the ERA was first introduced into Congress, the Equal Rights Amendment. It's been introduced into Congress every year since 1982. And guess what? It still hasn't passed. The Equal Pay Act, 50 years since the Equal Pay Act, and still women don't earn as much as their male counterparts for the same job. In every phase of government, in our C-suites, in Congress, in corporate boardrooms, women still are underrepresented. Of the 1,000 Fortune 1,000 CEOs, how many women are there? 46. That's 4.6%. And this is all despite the fact that women make up 50.8% of the population. Now, that's challenging, and that could cause us maybe to pull the sheets over our head and give up. But what I like about life is just when you think you're about to give up, you get a healthy dose of perspective. And I had the pleasure of traveling to Liberia with a delegation to celebrate the 75th birthday of President Ellen Sirleaf Johnson, the first female president of an African nation. At 75, her boundless energy, her determination to empower women and to raise Liberia, the war-torn country that it is, to greater heights, it was just palpable. She wasn't daunted by the tasks at hand. And you know what? I looked at myself and said, you know what? You need to take a healthy dose of perspective. She's facing challenges that many of us will hopefully never see. But she's still moving on, and so can we. Now, the third ingredient, and this is a very important one, it's called perseverance. Now, in life, it doesn't matter how extraordinary you are, it doesn't matter how patient you are, it doesn't matter how much perspective you are, you will face challenges and setbacks in your life. And every time I think about setbacks and challenges, I think about a story that many of you may have already heard about a farmer and his favorite donkey. The farmer went out onto his farm and he walked out and he was looking for his favorite donkey, and the donkey wasn't there. And then he stumbled over to the well and looked into the well, and its donkey had fallen into the well. The farmer was devastated. The donkey was crying and crying and crying, and the farmer did everything he possibly could to try to get the donkey out, but he couldn't. And so he called all of his friends and said, you know, my donkey's in the well. We're going to have to bury the donkey. Not exactly what I would have done for my favorite donkey, but that's a TEDx talk for another day. But all the friends came, and they shoveled dirt onto the donkey. And when the donkey realized what was happening, the donkey was devastated. The donkey couldn't believe it. The donkey cried and cried. And then all of a sudden, the donkey just stopped crying. And the farmer looked over into the well to pay his last respects to the donkey. And what he saw was absolutely astonishing. He realized that with each shovel of dirt that landed on the donkey's back, the donkey would shake it off and take a step up. Another shovel of dirt would get onto the donkey's back. The donkey would shake it off and take another step up. And then after about 30 minutes, the donkey trotted off proudly onto higher ground and hopefully far away from his farmer friend. And the story didn't say it, but I'm just going to take some liberties here. I'm confident it was an extraordinary female donkey. I'm taking liberty. I've got to be honest. No, seriously. Because like many of us in this room, we've dealt with setbacks. We've looked them square in the face, and we've said, we're going to shake this off and take a step up. I, for one, was like the donkey. 17 years ago, 1 month after my wedding to the love of my life, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I was devastated. I was at the pinnacle of my life, pinnacle of my career. I cried and I cried. Oh my God, I could have filled a river with the tears. What a pity party I had. I kept asking myself, why me? How could this be happening to me? How could this be happening to me? And like the donkey, I cried and cried, but also like the donkey, I stopped crying and shut down my pity party because I knew that I was put on this world and on this earth to make a difference in the lives of others. And I was not going to stop. So like the donkey, I took a healthy dose of patience. I took another dose of perspective. And then I took another big dose of perseverance. I put on my big girl pants, shook the dirt off, and stepped up. And I used my major setback to help me build myself up for a major comeback. So, being an extraordinary woman, it's not easy. It's not easy. But we do it. And we do it well. And that's because we choose to do it, despite the fact that the playing field is not level, and the cards are often stacked against us. And with all due respect to Sheryl Sandberg, we do lean in. And sometimes we lean in so far that we fall into the well like the donkey. But you know what? We get up again and again. We put our big girl pants on. We take our dose, a prescription for our patience, our perseverance, our perspective, and we get up. And you know what? More often than not, we're even more resilient. We're even more powerful. And that's right, we're even more extraordinary. And that, my friends, is a prescription for extraordinary women, but not just for extraordinary women. It's a prescription that I hope all of us will take so that we can invent a better future here. Thank you for your time and attention.